Hey guys, welcome to the new Dakota Boys Talk Movies episode. Here we are in living color once again, and we're facing you.
That's right. We're broadcasting from our stronghold in northern South Dakota.
In northern Korea. Or, no, disregard. Disregard that. No, yeah, it's nice to be back. It's nice to be visible to you again. Maybe you wish we weren't visible. Sorry. You can always listen to this on iTunes if that really bothers you. So
You're not the first purple we've let down, and you're not the last.
Not the first purple? Sound like you said
People, yes. Anyway.
Well, whatever it happens to be. Tonight, we are going to do an episode focusing on the Harry Potter movies. We're realizing how Fantastic Beasts comes out here in...
just 4 days? 3 days? 2 days?
Dang, yeah. From when we're filming this, only a few days. So probably by the time we release it, it'll be close to the release day. And so we thought we'd just go back. You know, the reason that movie basically got made was there's such a huge Harry Potter fan base that got even bigger because of the Harry Potter movies, you know, from the people who are already book lovers.
Yeah, the...
Lover of books. So we just thought...
Bibliophiles. To those of you who do not know what that is.
I don't know why. That just sounds like a really weird word. Anyway, yeah, bibliophile. Can't even say it. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to go back and just talk about, kind of do what we've done before.
Where we just talk about our favorite 3 movies. It's okay, guys. I swear Steven's not on the firewater.
I'm having a stroke again. No. Yeah. So, like we've done in the past, just narrow it down to a few of our favorites, our top 3, as it happens to be this time for each of us. Which there's a little crossover with our top 3, but that's bound to happen. Even with the fact that there being 7 movies. 8 movies, 7 books, 8 movies. There's still a little crossover just because, you know, some are you can just tell are better.
Yeah, this franchise was a little uneven, I felt. This is coming from someone who was just in love with the books. I mean, I'd buy them, I think, starting from the fourth one on, essentially like the day they came out. And by 3 days later, I'd done, read them, and kind of started to read them again. Just that's how... Like
you read them again, like immediately, or what?
Well, no, you would end it, and then you'd think about it, then you'd come back and be like...
process it, be like, you know what? I'm just going to read it again. So, it happens. It happens.
I think
it's kind of like when you watch a good movie and you want to just watch it again.
I think with the Half-Blood Prince, I think it was the Order of the Phoenix. There were some parts in there involving Dumbledore that I immediately went back and read just because I thought they were amazing. And sadly, they kind of just got butchered when they made it to the film version. Just bummed me out. Everyone was leaving the theater going, that was an amazing movie. And here I was looking just downcast. Like, yep.
Well, it's hard to get everything to screen. So, what are you going to do? You just got to take it for what it is. Did you... No, you're right. What's interesting is a lot of people, when they go back and think about which ones are their favorite or least favorite, it seems like a lot of people will say the first couple were their least favorite.
Yeah.
Which ironically, probably thanks to what Chris Columbus did and how he did it, were the reason the rest even got made. So there's a little irony in how a lot of people now look back and think, oh, those aren't my favorites. But it's hard to say how the franchise would have been if he wouldn't done it the way he did it and who he cast. So it's kind of interesting when you think about it that way, because it's like he's the one who originally put together, obviously J.K. Rowling thought of the world, but brought in Alan Rickman, Maggie Smith, everyone's favorite Dumbledore.
Yeah, the whole franchise could have gone completely different, and I got some trivia for you, and I'll go into that.
Ooh, Dakota's trivia time for people who are trivial.
Wow. Fans of trivia, Steven just insulted you. Please direct all your hate mail towards him. Or don't.
It's all right. I have a fireplace, and I'll burn it and keep myself warm this winter with your hate.
But
That got dark really quick.
Yeah,
I
man.
apologize.
Yeah, wow. We're just on
I didn't mean to go full like Donald Trump on y'all. Sorry.
we're just on a roller coaster ride of emotions tonight,
Woo!
folks. But kind of start something off. I thought it was odd we're doing this on. It is now the 15th. When the release date for the very first Harry Potter was November 14th.
That is crazy.
2001.
I did not know that.
Really?
That is a happy movie birthday.
Yeah, 15.
Harry Potter.
It's crazy. 15.
Go ahead.
15 years ago. That's when it was, and it seems like a lifetime ago. Mostly for me, because I think I took my kid brother to see the first one.
Yeah.
And
he's not a kid anymore, I suppose.
No, he's 19, 20.
21, 22. Do I hear
So,
23?
yeah, he's somewhere along there. And I think I was really hyped to see this movie, and it just I don't think really lived up to my expectations. But kind of what you said, it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, the pieces were there. So,
Yeah.
But what do you got for some trivia here?
Well, as we all know from Steven's trivial rants about director Chris Columbus, he was the director of the first two. Well, that's not originally who was supposed to direct.
Oh, do tell. I actually don't know this.
Oh, okay. Steven Spielberg was hired.
Really?
There's the details of the movie he wanted to make are kept under wraps, and all we know is he just clashed with J.K. Rowling on a lot of things.
Huh.
And I think he kind of wanted to Americanize the books a little bit, because I can't remember who he wanted.
I mean, when you think about Steven Spielberg movies, there is a certain sense of Americana to all of them. Where
Yeah.
it would be, I mean, that's the same thing with when he always talks about when you do a James Bond movie. You know, it's like, not many of his movies really have a European feel.
Yeah. But I think it was Jonathan Lipnicki is who he wanted for Harry Potter. Allegedly. This is all just,
Is that the kid from Jerry Maguire?
Yes, the one who had the trivial knowledge that he just threw out there throughout the movie.
Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting
Yeah.
choice for Harry Potter.
But yeah, he clashed, and there's a lot of rumors going around that the reason Chris Columbus was hired is because his ideas were more in line with what J.K. Rowling wanted, which you can't blame her. I mean,
And he's kind of a off-brand Spielberg in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, with what he's done, it's like he's trying to be Spielberg. He just never quite gets there a lot of the time. So
he's a good director, I think. Well,
he's a competent director.
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, his movies are usually pretty well made, even if they're terrible. Like Pixels. You know, he did
Yeah.
that. Like, it looks good. Just had moments of, okay.
Didn't he do Rent? I feel like he did.
He could have. One of my favorite Chris Columbuses for a lot of my childhood was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
He did that movie there, and so
Most other people would say Home Alone, which he also did.
yes, and he did,
Yeah.
of course, the first two Home Alones. Yep. Percy, and then he tried to do another Harry Potter franchise with Percy Jackson. You know, it tried to be like kind of another teenage boy book series to film that he did, but it just didn't work out quite so well. I still made a couple, I guess.
Well,
but
they'll reboot it someday. I mean, everything gets a reboot.
it's true. What else you got?
All right. Well, along with that, one kind of little bit of controversy. That
Ooh, I like
a couple little bits of controversy that the first film had. Daniel Radcliffe.
He was actually a woman. Oh.
No. He has blue eyes. Harry Potter's supposed to have green eyes. And apparently they tried to get him to wear contacts, but he reacted badly to them.
Could be.
So they didn't. They decided to just go with the blue eyes.
I'll be honest. I've tried contacts twice, and was told I have the strongest eyelid reflexes ever.
See,
I just couldn't get him in my eyes, and so maybe he had struggles like that even.
Or with me, I put them in, and it was like my eyeballs were trying to melt, and it was not a good feeling, folks.
Some of us are just made to wear glasses.
Yeah.
And feel smarter because of it, maybe.
Yeah, and people were also a little mad because when the trailer came out, the first trailer for the movie.
Like the very first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. People were angry because his scar wasn't in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah, it's kind of off to the...
I think at the right? Yeah, the right.
Yeah, it's not in the middle anyway. I'm trying to remember which side it's on.
Yeah, but in all the kind of artwork for the books and everything, they did beautiful artwork for the books. In the movie, it's kind of just a little bit off, and people were angry, like, "Why is it off? I hate you. Go die in a pit somewhere."
Really, I hate you.
Yeah,
people,
come on.
This is what we've come to, and I'm talking to you too, Marvel people. It's one thing when they just totally butcher someone, like X-Men Origins Wolverine, where the whole thing's kind of a butcher fest. But this nitpicking over where a scar is placed, where all that really matters is that he has a scar somewhere in his head. Come on. Or green eyes, even.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, whatever. Anything else?
Well, I have a couple other things, but it's not for the Sorcerer's Stone. Actress Shirley Henderson, who played Moaning Myrtle, the ghost who stalks the girls' bathroom.
Mm-hmm. She creeped me out, mostly because she seemed like a creeper.
Well, it's even creepier when you consider she was 36 years old.
What?
Yeah. She was supposed to be playing a 14-year-old girl.
She was 36?
Yes.
What? That was in the...
When the movie was being shot, she was 36 years old.
And so by the end of the series, she was even...
Yeah, it would have been 10 years later.
That's weird, because she does not look that old.
Yeah.
That's weird. Wow. Didn't see that one coming. You're getting me pretty good on these. I didn't know some of these. So.
Yeah.
What else do you got? Anything else?
Yes. The actor who played young Voldemort is actually Ralph Fiennes' nephew, I believe.
Okay, but not like Joseph Fiennes' son?
No, not him. I think it was his sister's, because his last...
Oh, okay.
His name was Hero
Nakamura?
Fiennes something. I can't... Yeah, his first name is Hero. I spelled the way you would spell hero.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Another little bit of trivia. The actor who plays Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah.
Can't think of his name off the top of my
Brendan
head.
Gleeson.
Yes, his son is actually one of the Wesley boys,
Yes,
the older ones.
Donald Gleeson, who a lot of people know now, just because he was an Ex Machina in Force Awakens, and he's kind of gaining a lot of steam lately. That's right, he was one of the Weasley. He was like the oldest
Yeah.
Weasley brother, who was only in a few scenes through the series, I think, isn't he? He's mostly in like the last one or two.
I believe.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did kind of know that. One thing I had found out later was J.K. Rowling finally admitted that she just kind of shrugged off the fact that they were saying Voldemort's name wrong.
Yeah.
That the T is supposed to be silent.
Yeah, Voldemort.
It's supposed to be Voldemort, but then in the movies they just started saying Voldemort, and she never corrected it, and they just... I mean, that's just the way it always was.
Yeah, I think the reason... I'm not sure if Volda means anything, but I know in French, which is obviously derived from Latin, mort means death.
We all know French is a dumb language anyway, so Voldemort.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Dakota brought something cool we're going to try too here before we get into our top movies here. So, Dakota, why don't you explain what you got here, and maybe where did you get this? Like, have you had this for years? Or?
No, I actually found these at Hot Topic not too long ago.
Ooh, that's a store where you get fringy stuff.
It's Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans. If you've seen the movie, read the books, you know that they're jelly beans, and they come in the usual flavors. Like we got blueberry, cherry, cinnamon, green apple. It also comes with a little bit of some flavors you wouldn't normally eat.
Please
like,
don't say like earwax or dog puke or something.
Earwax is one of the flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets better. We have booger. We have dirt.
I've eaten plenty of those anyway.
We have dirt. We have soap. I've eaten a couple of those.
I think any of us has ever mouthed off to our parents has had a little soap in their mouth or maybe some vinegar. My mom called it sassy sauce.
Ooh.
Whoa! Didn't work too well. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, then we got some earthworm here, which looks like a kidney. I'm not sure what candy floss is.
Maybe it's a worm kidney.
I'm not sure what candy floss is, though. Is that floss that's candy flavored, or is that a flavor in Europe?
Is candy floss... Well, floss sugar is what they use to make cotton candy. Would they be like talking about that? I don't know. People back me up on this, but I think isn't like floss sugar or sugar floss is what you use to make cotton candy, I think.
I think so.
Interesting. So that one might be good is what I'm getting at. Maybe.
Then we have vomit, and probably the one I'd be afraid to try, Tutti Frutti. Yes, not a fan of Tutti Frutti.
Why is there always a vomit one? All right.
You want to try one? A couple?
Yeah. That's why we showed them off, man. Got to do this.
All right.
All right.
I'm a little afraid. I'm going to let you pick your own.
I'm going to dump so I can't rig what color I get here. Let's see. Lemon, maybe? It's either lemon or rotten egg. So. Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's not lemon.
Oh, Lordy.
It's rotten egg.
Okay, well.
Oh, I gotta swallow it.
I am very afraid right now.
Dakota, stuck to my teeth. Oh, man. Oh, that's so bad. Ugh. Oh, yeah. That was...
Oh my
That was
God.
definitely a rotten egg.
Oh, my God.
He got the same color. You're going to get lemon now, though, you
Oh.
jerk.
Okay. Someone tell my mom I love her.
Is it rotten egg? Okay. It's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, it's gross. You got water, man. This one is best case candy floss. Nope, so we get to find out if this is candy floss here.
I can't swallow it, people.
Yep. For the record, candy floss is cotton candy flavored. That was
Okay.
actually good.
We're going to keep this train going, huh? All right.
We'll go. All right. There you go. You can try that one, I guess. Wait, is that the same?
I don't know. It doesn't have the markings on it.
Okay, so it might be, is that one lemon?
Yeah, that's lemon. That's
Okay.
not bad.
This one,
Oh, I know what that is.
this one could be black pepper. Only one way to find out. Oh. Yeah, it's pepper. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's like I licked a pepper shaker. Oh, it's gross.
Okay, I am going to bite the bullet here.
Let me do one more.
I know what this is. I don't even have to look at the box. I was kind of dreading.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think he's got vomit. I got Tutti Frutti.
I need a second to get myself together. I think
Ooh.
I'd
Tutti Frutti tastes like juicy fruit. Yeah!
I once ate rotten eggs one time on accident. That I'm kind of getting that same feeling I had when I can't.
He's getting a little sweatier here.
Oh Lordy.
Yeah. It took like 2 other good jelly beans to get that rotten egg out of my mouth. Now you have vomit in your mouth.
Yeah. Oh Lordy.
Skunk is still the worst. I've had skunk and dog food.
Well,
now that we have sour taste in our mouth, let's get into the pièce de résistance, to use our stupid French people's language again. And I think we'll just do what we usually do. We'll start. Blah. Got it. We'll start at number 3 and work our way to number 1. So, Dakota, number 3.
My number 3 is The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban. This was the third movie, right?
Yeah.
Would have been Chris Columbus, now out of the director's seat, and they bring in who?
Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, crazy, just interesting choice at the time.
Yeah, that was a complete switch up there.
I mean, this was about as 180 as you can get from Chris Columbus.
Yeah, he was coming off. Alfonso Cuarón was coming off Tu Mama Tambien.
Yeah, he probably would have been.
And
which, if many of you know, is not a kids movie.
Yeah, that is pretty hard R-rated movie there.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is we had it at a video store I worked at, and it always seemed like it was described as like a sexual odyssey. And so it's basically, we'll just say this would be a 180 from that. But I think what people saw in him and what everybody knows now, because he's done movies like Children of Men, Gravity, is that he was a visually interesting director.
Yeah, it was. You got to give the guy credit because it wasn't going to be easy coming in, and you already have this visual style. You have these actors that he didn't get a pick at all, and he kind of just had to step in and kind of make it work, and he pulled it off pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, he made one of the best casting decisions in the whole series, of casting Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
Sirius Black, and that would have been new to this movie. And but yeah, in my opinion, I don't know what you think, but I think that really he's the guy who set the visual tone of the Harry Potter universe from that movie forward.
Yeah,
like if you remember the first two, they were really like Christmas oriented and kind of cheerfully gothic looking in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they
and Cuarón with this one was he kind of brought in like a different tone that really changed really the whole feel of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Columbus was really gonna be able to do this movie justice kind of from the get-go, because this is essentially the book was where the series kind of turned dark. You know, there was always kind of those dark undertones in the first two books, but this was the one where it went full on. Just it was going to be black, starting with the Dementors.
Sure, yeah, because even in Chamber of Secrets, even when it gets to like kind of the big scary ending stuff, it really isn't scary. Or, you know, it doesn't really have like a darkness to it, I should say. It would be a better word. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting. What is kind of the gist of this one? So we got Harry Potter's kind of established understanding. He's the chosen one. Now, in this one, Sirius Black, I know, enters the picture. And then there's every year there's like a new Minister of the Dark Arts.
Yeah. But in this one, you find out that, the kind of professor who taught the Defense Against Dark Arts class this time was actually really competent, knew what he was doing, and he actually teaches the kids stuff. And then you have, of course, Sirius Black, who is in the movie they paint him as like the right-hand man of Voldemort, and he escapes from Azkaban, which is essentially just the Rock, but in the wizarding community.
Yeah.
Yes, I just made an Alcatraz reference for those of you who didn't get that.
Yeah.
But and then it's essentially you find out that Sirius Black is kind of somewhere around the school, hiding out in the forest, and he's trying to make his way into the school. And everyone's naturally just freaking out because, oh, this guy is like the real deal, you know, a murderer. And of course there's Harry is a little invested in this story because Sirius Black was best friends with his dad and is the guy that everyone just assumes essentially told Voldemort where they were hiding and kind of sold them out and got them killed.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess this is one I've always enjoyed a lot too, and I think some of it was just refreshing because it just felt like this is where the movie started to get a better tone for what the story was going to tell. You know, whereas the first two just felt like they were fine. They were just like a little too childish seeming, where it was nice to see that the movie's kind of matured with Harry.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. And, yeah.
I
but
think
really, there's a lot of solid performances in that movie.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the reasons probably why this movie seems so good compared to the next two is they tried to cram everything from the books into those first two movies. And I think that kind of hurt a little bit. Like,
Sure.
Oh, I want to do this because, in the book everyone liked that, or this was really, this part of the book is really a fan favorite, so we got to do that. And Alfonso Cuarón, I feel like, just kind of sidestepped a bunch of stuff to just tell like a story that was a little more cohesive. It didn't seem like a bunch of random little parts that he just kind of threw together and sent out to the masses.
Yeah. But let's move on. My number 3 is and I don't know if it was maybe I'm trying to figure out why this is in my top 3. Some of you might think it's an odd choice, but I think it's just because just when I saw it, it just kind of like I just found it to be a really entertaining film, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the previous movie or the previous one before this too, and so I think this is kind of like just a refreshing jump in the right direction, in my opinion. But it's Order of the Phoenix. I Goblet of Fire was fine. I just thought it got off track in a lot of ways, and I wasn't a real fan of this weird shovel face guy that showed up in it, who we all know now is R. Pats, who was in Twilight. But there was so much hinging on you caring about him, and you never really did in Goblet of Fire. And that's the thing, is Order of the Phoenix kind of starts with Harry still reeling from his death, but it doesn't feel like it really mattered.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if it mattered to you. And maybe it's one of those things where it mattered more in the books. Would you know that? You were a book guy.
Yeah.
Or a book with these books.
Yeah, it's...
It just feels like he just didn't care about it. I can't remember his name.
Cedric Diggory, I believe.
Cedric.
Yeah.
Cedric Diggory. And now it rings a bell, but it's like, I just didn't care. It wasn't like a Boromir death.
I think the reason Harry kind of dwells on it more than he should have is he feels pretty responsible for the boy's death. He was essentially...
and that was the thing, is the one good thing about that death is what it did was it set up that Voldemort was going to be returning. And that's what Order of the Phoenix is all about, was Voldemort. There was they were trying to warn of his return, and in the meantime there's a lot of political intrigue going on with Hogwarts, where they bring in Umbridge, Dolores Umbridge, I believe.
Yeah.
And there becomes kind of almost like this totalitarian dictatorship under her at Hogwarts. And so the Order of the Phoenix is Harry basically gets together really just his wizard student friends, and they make this secret order to kind of rebel against this totalitarian stuff that's happening. And of course, they named it after Dumbledore's
Dumbledore's army, I believe, is what they call themselves, the DA.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, why they use the Phoenix, that was his thing.
Yeah.
What do they call those things where you have your symbol, that's your thing?
Coat of arms? Crest?
No, that magical term.
Oh,
You know, like it was the stag for the one person.
Oh, the Patronus.
Yeah, it wasn't the Phoenix with Dumbledore's Patronus.
I think it was, yeah.
And he had the Phoenix Birds like name themselves after that, you know, and stuff. And so, anyway, it was just kind of cool just to kind of get into this aspect of the Harry Potter world. And I just enjoyed the movie, I guess, overall for those reasons.
Yeah, one thing I thought was interesting about this movie that a lot of people kind of picked up on and kind of just thought it was amusing, but in the books, Dolores Umbridge is kind of described as a toady woman. She's supposed to be really short, squat.
Which the lady in the movie was.
Yeah. She comes off, the way they describe her, though, she comes off as kind of odd-looking, like the creepy old lady from Poltergeist.
Yeah, that Zelda Ferris or whatever.
Yes, I can't remember the actress's name, but yeah. Essentially, when you're reading the book, someone like that kind of just comes to mind. And then in the movie, you have somebody who kind of seems like a younger version of the Queen a little bit. And she seems a little more kind of just like really buttoned down, and I don't know if you want to say evil, but just sinister.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, I guess, or whatever, but I guess I didn't know that. It's kind of like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Is that if they would have made the President Snow how he looked in the books, he would have looked really creepy. Like, almost yucky looking. Like a snake face and...
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway. Yeah, but it was one, and maybe... I don't know, I've gone through the series a few times. Just over the years, and it's one I still enjoy quite a bit, so I guess I can't really I'm not going to defend it too hard that it's a weird choice, but at the same time it probably, I don't know, it would make a lot of people's top 3 maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, why don't we go on to maybe sorry.
It's funny you kind of say that because it's actually my number 2.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. I didn't realize that was your number.
Yeah. So we'll just lead in right into mine.
That's funny.
Kind of the reason I kind of have this a little higher on my list than you is I think this is where the movies kind of started getting a little better.
Well, I think that's some of it too, definitely. Yeah.
Like David Yates, I think kind of refined his style a little bit and wanted to be more kind of a filmmaker rather than the other ones, like with the exception of the third one, kind of seemed like they had requirements, like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, this has to be in there. The fourth one I know was a little kind of, there was a lot of stuff changed from the books.
Order of the Phoenix is where David Yates took over for the rest of the series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's doing Fantastic Beasts, actually, too.
Yeah.
So.
I think essentially maybe he'll be making Harry Potter movies till he dies. I think that's the plan. They have 5 of the, they're working on 2 as we speak, and the first one hasn't even come out yet.
Yikes.
Which is interesting. I mean, go Potterverse.
I guess they're working on like 5 Star Wars movies right now. So I mean, that's just the way it goes. So
well, those get me excited, but it's like
if it works, it works. So
yeah,
you just never know. So yeah. Anyway, that's funny. So
I don't know. This movie, like I said, the books, their translation to screen, I don't think was very well done in these movies. It's not like the Lord of the Rings. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy did it well, with the exception of the third one. There was a couple of problems I had with that, but this whole Harry Potter series was kind of uneven. Some of my favorite parts from the book were cut.
It's hard though, because it's like you gotta get through the main story thread.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, okay, what characters are important to focus on, but it still has to somehow lead back to the main story where we're not getting too sidetracked. And so it's so hard to find that balance of what to keep in, Yeah,
but I love the Weasley twins in this movie. They were pretty awesome. Umbridge was great, I thought.
She did a good job. Like, you hated her, which is what she was supposed to do.
Filch essentially was just the comic relief in this movie, which
he slowly just became like, just by the last movie, he just felt like he was like Buster Keaton or something. Like he was just straight up there for comic relief by the end.
Yeah. Hey, he filled the role well, I guess. But yeah, I just thought this movie was pretty interesting, and the kids coming together to kind of try to save the day, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and then this is when they tried to kind of force in that whole romance with Harry too, right?
Yeah, with the Cho girl.
Yeah, which was that pretty true to the book?
It was, oddly enough.
I mean, I kind of assumed, but I didn't know if it was. It just felt really heavy-handed in the movies, like kind of out of left field.
Yeah,
a little bit. It was like.
I blame it on the fact that,
like, it just seemed like all of a sudden, like she was the love of his life.
Yeah,
it's like there was no previous build up to this.
I think in the books they build up to it.
I would hope so.
He catches her eye eventually, and it's like. Just love struck, but at the same time he's afraid to talk to girls.
Yeah, because really in the movie verse, at this point you're still thinking like, "God, Hermione could end up with Harry," and then all of a sudden, just out of left field, you have this other girl who has really never had any. Like she was played by a different actress in a previous movie, and was just kind of a background person.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, that was the thing. It's like she was so background in the previous movie that they could recast her, and we really didn't even know.
I think that's a little trick maybe they learned from the X-Men movies.
Maybe.
But a shocking amount of people were replaced in this movie. I know there was kind of a controversy because one of the actresses was black, and in the next movie, she was played by a white girl, and I think that was in...
Was that the one that falls...
For
in love with Ron?
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind of a big deal. I remember that controversy because they're like, oh, they had to make her a white girl.
Yeah, and then...
Yeah. It gets touchy there, people.
Yeah, one of the actors who was replaced actually came back. I'm drawing blank. They're not actors or actresses that are famous, but the fat lady I know was replaced. That's the name that's the name of her character, so I'm not insulting her.
It's just the way you said it, like, the fat lady.
Yes, she was replaced.
Yeah,
pretty noticeably.
You're talking like the painting.
Yeah,
yeah, you could like tell that one. Like it just felt different.
I think in the first one, she looks like a high society older grand dame.
Yeah, she's older because she has a bigger part in that one because it's when Harry's first going into his dorm.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like significantly older than she is later. But
then it's crazy how many people they replaced. I'm honestly surprised it wasn't done a little probably more. I guess the cast just was too big.
Yeah, I mean, and at the same time, it's surprising that the only of the adults they really ever had to replace was because of a death.
Yeah.
All of them were able, whenever they needed Emma Thompson's professor to show up again, she was just in the movie again. They were able to just kind of use what they needed to use when they needed them.
You know what a lot of people forget? We're completely off topic by now. Vern Troyer was actually one of the little people who was one of the goblins in these, and he was replaced later by Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis ended up playing two different roles because he was...
Yeah, he was the professor.
He was a professor, and then he was one of the bank goblins or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The one that leads them down into the vault.
And even his professor kind of changed over time. I think when you first saw him, he had like a long beard. He almost looked like he could have been almost like a dwarf because he had like a long beard.
Or garden gnome.
There you go. But he trimmed it up, and then I know in one of the movies he had like crazy eyebrows, and I don't know if they were real or... And then I know in the other one he had like a Hitler mustache.
I was going to say, at least with facial hair, you could say like he shaved around, but yeah, the eyebrow thing's kind of that's interesting. But,
yeah.
Yeah, my number 2 is it's closer to the end of the series. In fact, it is the last book, but not the last movie. It's Deathly Hallows Part 1. This is just when you get into the real heavy meat of the whole prophecy surrounding who Harry Potter is. This is the one where he discovers he's trying to destroy the Horcruxes, which are these, if you know Harry Potter at all, the magical How many are there? 7?
Yeah,
There's
and
7, and he has to destroy them all to basically defeat Voldemort. It's the only way he can come back.
I'll explain to you guys what the Horcruxes is, because a lot of people have trouble understanding them. They were items that Voldemort concealed his soul in, and apparently you could take a part of your soul and enchant an object by killing someone. And is it this movie where they go into how he acquired them? In the books, they go into it pretty well.
I want to say that part of it might be more in the second part.
Okay.
It seems like.
But the reason he picked 7 is because...
I hate when they do these 2-part things because they start blending.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to picture the second one, and all I'm seeing is, like, Hogwarts just being destroyed. I don't think it was 2 hours of that, was it?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. But, yeah, he decides to do it, and the 7th one, I believe, he puts into his giant snake, which is odd that he would conceal part of his soul in another living thing, but supposedly that explains why the snake...
it gave a really sweet moment in the movie, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that might explain why the snake seems to be so, I don't know, methodical is a word maybe you could use.
Yeah. But really, there's also the explanation of what the Deathly Hallows mean, which is the 3 significant objects.
Did they explain that in this movie, or was it the second one?
I think in this movie is when...
I remember the animation for the scene was actually really cool.
Yeah, there's a really cool animated sequence. And then I think this movie ends with where it feels like you're just in the middle of a scene. And I think it's kind of near the end when you're starting to get a better understanding of what the Deathly Hallows are. And then it kind of ends with really Voldemort on top of the world.
Yeah.
Thinking he's got this in the bag. And so it leaves you like in a really, really dark undertone. But then, of course, they only made you wait till... They had this one come out in November, and they only made you wait till summer to see part 2. You didn't have to wait a whole year, which was, I thought, a pretty cool idea on their part, because then they were able to have a Thanksgiving blockbuster and then do a summer blockbuster for the last movie. So it's kind of cool. And then...
I just realized something. Apparently the kind of the way the Marvel movies staked out May, I guess the Harry Potter movies kind of staked out November, huh?
Yeah, like I said, the first 2 were kind of more Christmassy, and it came out at Christmas time. And then it seemed, I don't know, did they do any other summer movies besides part 2 of Deathly Hallows?
I can't.
It seemed like somewhere.
I think maybe Goblet of Fire was a spring movie.
That could have been, but it seemed like, especially when David Yates took over, they kind of became like November-y movies, because it seemed like there for a while there was always a Harry Potter movie coming out around my birthday, which I have a November birthday, and so and then now it's still happening with Fantastic Beasts. So yeah, that is kind of interesting, just kind of how they did that. But I think that's what I liked about this one, is that you just see certain victories coming to the heroes, and then you get a better understanding of Tom Riddle / Voldemort and exactly who he is and what everything he's doing is leading to. And then just how this one just kind of has everything kind of fall apart for the heroes before you get into... It's kind of the Empire Strikes Back of this series. I mean, that's giving it a lot more credit than it deserves, because, I mean, Empire Strikes Back is a lot better. But it kind of is the Empire Strikes Back of this series.
Yeah.
Where it's really when everything crumbles. Half-Blood Prince kind of is, but this one is where everything seems to be even getting just darker and worse.
I'm trying to remember.
So,
Is this the movie where Harry and Hermione share that awkward dance scene? Because
well, is that when they're in their hidden campground?
Yes, in the tent.
Yeah, because that's this one.
I remember this movie. It was kind of uneven for me, but I thought that was odd. Like it felt so just out of place.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there were some things that were out of place because, again, I think that it was a little bit of fan service. Like, we'll do some, like, what ifs, because there are a certain group of people that wish Harry and Hermione would end up together. You know, obviously the book people are like, that's not going to happen, you know, but.
even though
You
J.K. Rowling wanted it to. Ooh.
Yeah, which is interesting. But they just kind of played with that a little bit, I think, is what they did. So, what are you going to do? So, yeah, let's go into your number one then, Dakota.
My number one is The Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah,
Yes.
this one is a good movie. Not a bad number one pick, I must say.
This is honestly the only one I think that really flowed. Like, has a beginning, middle, end.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
The first time I saw this movie, it frustrated me beyond belief. I thought this was the most annoying middle movie that ever existed. I feel like the first time I saw this movie, I felt like the whole movie was just set up for the rest of it, and
Really?
it annoyed me. Yeah, I saw it in theaters, and I was just like,
I know.
ugh, at the end. But then later, we rewatched it. I'm like,
This is the movie where Jim Broadbent first showed up, right?
could have been.
Maybe.
I don't know. Every British person, if you weren't in these, it's like you probably felt bad that you weren't good enough because they had every other British person. But, yeah, that was how I came out of. But I think part of it was that I liked Order of the Phoenix so much.
Yeah.
You know, I've already admitted that, and I just felt like this one was like an annoying, filler movie that did a few of its own things, but then. Was just kind of a middle movie to set up the rest. But so I'm curious of your positivity toward it and how you had it. So I want to hear this. Here.
Honestly, this is like the movie where it felt like Harry was actually becoming an adult. And that's what I really liked about it. And that he was kind of, for the first time, like, just walking his own path. Like the other movies, it kind of felt he was leaning a little bit too much on Ron or Hermione, or he was, saw Dumbledore as an ex machina kind of figure where, oh, no matter what happens, Dumbledore will show up and save everybody. But I just like how he, I just like how he tries to take his own destiny in this movie. And then the end battle, I just loved. One thing that this movie never really impressed me with was the whole wand dueling, especially in Goblet of Fire, where it looked like they were holding lightsabers and they were like,
if
yeah.
I strain harder, it'll beat you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why we talked about in our Doctor Strange review how it was nice to see a magic fight that kind of made sense, because sometimes these are just like they were just straining with their wand out. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just, overall, this movie kind of just hit a lot of notes that I just loved. I thought this was probably the first one, too, where I thought Ralph Fiennes was actually menacing.
That's true. Well, this is really when he finally got to shine.
Yeah, in the Goblet of Fire, he seemed like a little too manic. Like you didn't like. Maybe he was like deprived of sleep, and he was kind of just winging it. But in this one, he seemed to know what he was doing more.
Well, and Goblet of Fire is almost like a special appearance by.
Yeah.
You know, this one was like I said, he really got to like be the Red Dragon. No, just kidding.
Wow.
Different movie. But yeah, he really got to be Voldemort fully realize it. And it was partially him thinking, okay, I gotta really figure out how I'm going to do this, because I got to do it for, however many more movies they decide to do, because at that point he probably didn't realize that they're going to part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. But yeah, that is a good movie. And another thing that I really ended up liking better about that movie over time was kind of the mystery of the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah.
and just kind of understanding the whole mystery. And so I guess in a way I do see your argument on how it is one of the ones that really does feel more of a beginning and end, and yet it still has a pretty sinister ending leading into the rest too. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, my number one, we don't have to dwell on too much because it was one that's already been brought up. It was Dakota's number 3, I believe. And my number one is Prisoner of Azkaban, and pretty much I've already said why I love that one. It was just like they brought in a director who was just able to take the series in a direction it needed to go, and it just made it really cool. And I just loved Gary Oldman and David. How do you say his last name? Is it Thewlis?
Thewlis, yeah.
Thewlis.
I think.
Their dynamic, I just really liked, their character relationship in that movie. And then I just loved Sirius Black. I just threw the whole rest of the series, really. Whenever he showed up as good, even if he was just in a fireball in a fireplace.
It was a shame they didn't take more advantage of him.
Yeah, I really wish they would have. Anytime you get Gary Oldman signed up, just use him, man. Use him. You're gonna get something good. Even when he's mellow, he's still good. I mean, good example of that would be, I almost said, what's it called? The Planet of the Apes movie, the second one. I almost called it War of the Planet of the Apes, but that's the new. That's the one that's going to come out here soon. Dawn.
Yes,
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where it was kind of a subdued performance, but he nailed the few emotional moments that he needed to nail. And so yeah, he's just good. And so yeah, I mean that's why he's my number one. I liked the story of it and just the new tone of the Harry Potter movies that they went with it. But yeah, so with that's our list. We really only ended up talking about 1, 2, 3,
4 movies.
We only talked about 4 of the movies because even though we total had 6 here, we only had 4 different ones. So we only talked about 4 of the. How many movies are there? 8.
Yes.
8 movies, 7 books. So yeah, we really only got into half the movies, even though we could have talked about 6 of them. But it's a favorites episode, and those are our favorites. So you can always tell us if you agree or disagree, or if you have things in the movies we like that you're like, oh, I like those too, but you totally missed this great thing that was in that movie, because we probably did. Because honestly, like Dakota said, these movies are really uneven, but when they would do things right, they would do it right.
Yeah.
There was like really good moments in some of these movies, and it is kind of a bummer when they kind of miss the target on something you wish they wouldn't have missed the target on. But they did hit the target a lot on these movies, and it really gave. I think a lot of people really still appreciated it after the conclusion. I know I did. I thought it was a good run, even with its missteps. Had a good run of a series. So
yeah, I know there's a lot of anticipation for this upcoming movie here, and
and if you don't know, my understanding is these movies are just based off of a textbook that they use in the schools, but the guy Eddie Redmayne's playing is the author of the book, and he talks about all the different magical beasts of their world.
He's essentially a zoologist, but in the wizarding world, he goes around studying all these magical creatures. And supposedly he was a teacher at Hogwarts. He was friends with Dumbledore. Of course, this movie taking place in the 30s. Dumbledore's going to be a lot younger.
Yeah, something like that.
Because he is supposed to show up in the next movie, and it's going to be interesting who they get.
That's not who Johnny Depp's playing.
No, Johnny. Good. Johnny Depp's playing his gay lover. But anyway, moving on. Yes, you just did see Steven throw up in his mouth.
I didn't throw up in my mouth. That was the jelly bean.
Oh, okay.
No, that's interesting. I didn't realize that's who Johnny Depp was playing. I had heard the J.K. Rowling's outing of Dumbledore a few years back, I remember.
Yeah, there's talk of how he should be portrayed, Dumbledore, because obviously he's going to be younger. It's like, what would a Dumbledore in his prime be like?
What would a Dumbledore?
Obviously, he's not gonna be. He's gonna be the way. He's not gonna be the way he was when he's an older man.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But we're gonna bring this episode here to a close. We appreciate you tuning in. I don't know. Can you say tuning in these days, Dakota?
You sure can.
Okay, you tuned in. So, and
To our channel.
Yes, we do have a channel, which hopefully you're subscribing to.
If not, why aren't you?
Yeah, come on. It's not like, what else could you possibly be
If you
subscribing
do,
to?
Steve only eat a whole box of these jelly beans.
At the same time. Ooh, don't make me do that. But yeah, we have a YouTube channel. We're on iTunes, any of those podcast places. So if you subscribe, that'd be great. Keeps us in the know on who's out there. And then obviously, if you ever respond to us, keeps us even more in the know on where you're at with things. Things you maybe like us to talk about, things we should have talked about that we could correct in next episodes and things like that. So,
you know what we haven't brought up in a while, which we've put it out there.
Salamanders?
Well, besides that. If you want us to review a movie, maybe something's in the theater, you don't want to.
Yeah, it's been a few episodes since we said anything about that. But
if you don't want to spend time or money to go see it, just ask us to review it. Maybe we'll do it.
Spend our time and money.
It's what we do, people. It's what we do for you. How can we help you?
Most of the time, we like it. So, what are you gonna do? We're suckers for punishment, but every once in a while, you get to relish in something great.
Yeah, if you want us to review Ghostbusters, the remake, that's not happening. No. I'll tell you that right now. Putting a kibosh on that right now.
I think that one's already run its course, sadly, and we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on things coming up or things you're just curious of our thoughts on, we're always up for that. So yeah, hope you do that. But I think with that, not much more to say in this episode. Obviously, we'll try to get this. This should be released. I'm just going to say it before Fantastic Beasts come out. But yeah, maybe you could even let us know what you think about that movie once it does come out. And possibly we'll be seeing that too here. We'll have to see if that's in the cards. Could be. So we'll see you later.
Ciao.
Hellboy Punch. See ya.